We will be starting the webinar quickly, just getting everything set up. Should be ready to rock and roll here in just a couple of minutes. So I look forward to seeing you on the call. My friend Andrea has joined us. And
good morning.
Good morning, good morning. How are you?
I'm great.
All right. Well, glad to see you again.
You too.
Here we are. Look outside. Snow.
No way. Oh, you keep that out there.
Supposed to get 3 inches today and
Ah,
another 3 inches later in the week.
it has begun.
Winter is here. What do you think?
I'm not happy about that.
Well, can't do anything about it, Andrea, so I guess we
Make
may
it
as well
better,
enjoy
Doc.
it. I like it. Well, I tried to light a fire big enough that we could keep the America warm, but it ain't
Right,
gonna work. So,
right.
hey, how are you doing in Michigan?
Oh, pretty good. It's cloudy and overcast.
Cloudy and overcast. See, that's what we had yesterday. Here's what you got coming.
I know. That's what I told you. Keep it out there.
Look what's over my shoulder.
I see.
Yeah. Can you believe it? 2 weeks ago, I was hunting in 87-degree weather.
Nice.
2 weeks ago today, when I was out in Wyoming, you were with me. You were with me. And when we
Yep.
did the doctor's call out there. So, you know. Hey, today we were going to talk about the health benefits of something called resveratrol. What are you
I'm
drinking?
drinking
Wine?
it.
You're drinking
No,
wine?
it's resveratrol.
All right. It's Eternity.
That's right.
So we'll talk a little bit at the end of our talk why is Eternity really the best resveratrol supplement?
Okay.
You because there's a lot of things. I mean, did you know there's over 3,600 um, published studies on resveratrol?
Well, I can believe it because when I first learned about it 5 or 6 years ago, I went on the internet and it was everywhere. Tons and
Well,
tons of articles. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, probably by the time I kind of look at all this stuff, there's probably over 4,000 studies, but there are over 3,600 published studies, 244 clinical trials where they've actually not just reviewed the science on it, but they've actually taken it in and studied it, used it in the clinic, and gotten results.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So, the thing about it is they haven't found any side effects. They haven't found anything that says that, oh, this isn't good for you. So I think that's pretty amazing in itself because so many things they tell you, they say, oh, this is good, but don't do too much because then it's bad.
Another natural wonder like bananas.
Yeah. What was I reading? I took some notes this morning and they said that they've tested it up to the use of 5 grams per day.
That's a lot.
5 grams. That would be a tablespoon and a half of pure resveratrol, and they haven't found any problems with that. Pretty
Awesome.
amazing, isn't it? So safe to use every single day, and it's just I was trying to come up with different things this morning on as the last half hour. That's what I've been doing is I've been writing notes like I always do. Because I
Uh-huh.
don't want to come at you and just say, hey Andrea, hey people, this is my review. I want to have the actual data so that you can't come back and say, oh, what you told us was wrong. I want to have the actual data. So you know so this study that was done in September of 2019, so just a year ago,
Okay.
a little bit over a year ago, 13 months ago, they said that that, and this is where I got the information that there was 3,600 published studies, 240 clinical trials, and a year ago there was 27 ongoing studies at that particular time. So by now there's probably 250 clinical trials that are done. But they found that it's that resveratrol potentially, they say potentially, improves type 2 diabetes, obesity, colon cancer, breast cancer, multiple myeloma, hypertension, Alzheimer's disease, um, cardiovascular disease, strokes, kidney disease, and inflammatory disease, as well as metabolic syndrome.
Well, sounds like it's good for just about everything,
Well, if it affects inflammation, if it's a great anti-inflammatory and a great antioxidant, I'd say you're correct. Because
right?
haven't they said that one of the major components of every single chronic disease, every single chronic disease,
Yep.
what's one of the major components?
Inflammation.
Inflammation. So if we have something that's safe to use and it helps with all those things, wouldn't you say everybody needs to be on this?
I would think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Last week, after we got done talking, I sent a couple studies on over to Tom Jr. that I found that said that they're really doing some more studies on resveratrol because they found that resveratrol and NAD really work hand in hand.
I've
And
seen reports like that. Yep.
yeah, and they work with the SIRT1 gene, right? The sirtuin genes,
Hmm.
and there's 7 of them. So the SIRT1 was the first one that was discovered, and that's the one that really helps out with repairing damaged DNA. And who
Right.
has damaged DNA?
Well, probably all of us. Yep.
Everybody. You're exactly right. You know, and the problem with it is, like I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day. We're out pheasant hunting, and he said, "Oh, I take resveratrol." I said, "Well, but I know you don't take Sisel Eternity." And he said, "No." He said, he takes a pill form. And the problem with taking a pill form, Andrea, is that resveratrol is highly oxidative, right? It oxidates quickly when you expose it
Hmm.
to oxygen. So if I take a grape and I squeeze it and I put that juice on the table, right?
Yep.
There's resveratrol in there. But how long does it take before it starts to get exposed to oxygen? Once exposed to oxygen, as soon as I squeeze it out, right?
Right.
And that causes it to rapidly degrade, so it's not
Mhm.
as powerful, right?
It's a living substance. Yes.
So on top of that, resveratrol is something that's once it gets in the body, your gastric juices start to destroy it right away,
Hmm.
and then the liver manhandles it a little bit more. So really, what I was reading this morning, by the time you figure that, okay, I'm going to take that powdered form, I'm going to put it in my mouth, I'm going to take the capsule, it's going to go through the gastric juices of the stomach, it's got to go through some different enzymes, pancreatic enzymes, then it's going to be metabolized partially by the liver. How
Hmm.
much of that, if you were taking a 200 milligram powdered form, how much do you think actually makes it into your body? i'm
I
going to
don't know.
I'm going to give you a guess, and you have to answer in the form of a question.
What is 10%?
What is 10%? You're pretty close. It's less than that.
Wow.
What is 5%?
5%. Wow. That's a
What
lot
is
of love.
5%? 10 milligrams out of 200 actually makes it into your body to work. 10
Well, then
milligrams.
what's the point of taking it, right?
Well, I mean, it's better than nothing, right?
A little bit, 5% better.
A little bit, 5% better than taking nothing. And so I try and tell people when they say, "Oh yeah, but mine is cheaper than yours." Yeah, it's like, it's
Well,
like
that's
my,
effective.
yeah. It's like when my son used to argue with the neighbor when I used to have a neighbor over here. He'd argue with him, my dad's lawnmower's faster than yours.
It probably was. You probably turbojetted it or
We
something.
turbocharged it, yeah. But you know, so my whole thing is this: is that look, Andrea, you know, if I'm going to take a product, I would rather take something that's studied to be one of the most, let's say the most effective, because I haven't looked at every company, I haven't looked at every product, and I don't want to get into a, my lawnmower's faster than your lawnmower type of argument with you. I just want
Right.
to say, look, the studies out there show this. This is a study from September 2019, right?
Okay.
It's a year old. And this is what they're saying. This is what they're saying. This is their article. This is a review. This is a review that's published on PubMed, and that's what they're saying. Now,
Well, just to break it down a little bit for people who might be new to the whole resveratrol topic, what is the big deal about resveratrol? What does it do for us other than reduce inflammation? What was it touted to do when they won the Nobel Prize for discovery?
well, I mean, the whole thing is that it's it it's really been studied at least recently in anti-aging. This is from the Journal of Aging, the Aging Journal. This was published June of 2020. So 4 months ago, right? So this is a quote out of theirs. It says resveratrol is a common natural occurring polyphenol um, that inhibits the cellular effects of carcinogenesis. You know what that is? Carcinogenesis. I mean, just break that word down.
Right.
What that means? Carcinogenesis, new cancer development. So it inhibits that. This is from the Journal of Aging, June of 2020. I'm not saying our product. I'm not saying it was studied. I'm saying June 2020 Aging Journal, right? PubMed, published on PubMed. Here's the Journal of uh, American Osteopathic Association, right? September 2018. It says that resveratrol is chemopreventative, which means that it helps to protect against cancer. It metabolic change protection. So from eating too much sugar and things like that, carbs, it protects us against the damage. It helps with glycemic control, which we all need. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I should start taking this stuff, Andrea.
I know that you do.
It protects against the side effects of diabetes. And they go on to say it's safe to use. They found no side effect. That's the Journal of the American Osteopathic Association, September of 2018. Right? It was
Yep.
discovered in the 1940s. They found that almost 50% of resveratrol products on the market failed in any testing to be effective because of the fact that, like we talked about, it oxidizes and just the way that they process it and things like that. But they found that, I mean, and I'm not, again, I have to keep stating this because I don't want people to go out and say, oh, Kurt says that Eternity does this. No, I didn't.
Right.
What I'm saying is resveratrol does this. It lowers blood pressure, it increases immunity, it protects the brain against degeneration, it helps with diabetes, it decreases inflammation, and it protects against oxidation as well as decreasing joint pain. That's, some other studies that I found. Compared to other superfruits, like a friend of mine, he said, oh, I'm taking moringa, right? Another friend of mine says he's taking noni. Another one says he's taking mangosteen and acai and goji berry and all that. In comparison, there's 3,600 studies that are published on resveratrol. Which one of those other superfruits do you want me to compare it to?
Noni.
Noni. 110 published studies.
There you go.
What does that tell you? I mean,
Because Tom always told us they don't waste their research money studying something that doesn't work.
bingo. Bingo. Yeah. So the Journal of Biomedical Pharmacotherapeutics, June of 2019. So this is not quite a year and a half ago, right? It
Mhm.
said that resveratrol is synthesized in plants, peanuts, blueberries, um, you know, lots of different plants, grapes. It's synthesized in these plants in response to stress and injury. So what they found is that if it protects the plant against these things and you consume it, it protects the person that consume it. It can protect. So that's why it's synthesized in these plants, right? Again, this morning I was trying to look up this stuff. Why is resveratrol important to us? And again, in the Journal of the Biomedical Pharmacotherapeutics, it says that it's extremely researched extensively researched in antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, immunomodulation. They said that that resveratrol helps with. They said, and again, I'm not talking about our product. It's talking about
Mhm.
cancer, diabetes, neurodegenerative diseases, aging, cardiovascular, and obesity. Resveratrol, right? Um, this is the British Medical Journal, July of 2019. So these are all, I mean, I'm trying to quote
Recent.
recent
Yeah.
studies, right? I mean, I can find 3,600 studies. I'm just giving you some of the stuff from the last year, right? And they're talking about British Medical Journal the, that it helps with the complications of type 2 diabetes, um, which is what?
Lack of circulation.
Cardiovascular disease, right?
Mhm.
So they said resveratrol improves vascular function using the same pathways to reverse what diabetes caused. So it reverses the vascular side effects of diabetes.
Wow. That
That's
should be important too, with like 50% of the generation or the population.
right. British Medical Journal, July of last year. Here's from the Journal of Gene Expression, 2019. So they're saying that it imitates the same effect as a caloric restrictive diet, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. So it does the same thing as having a restrictive diet, and we've shown that with all the stuff that we've talked about that's very important. People who are on a restrictive caloric intake actually live longer.
Yep. It's part of living longer.
So this is February of 2020, the Archives of Medical Research, right? This is recent stuff, right? It says it triggers apoptosis, which is what?
Implosion of the big C cells.
Right. Apoptosis, right? Of activated T cells. So when they're causing problem, boom, explodes them, right? It uh, it suppresses the tumor necrosis factor and other pro-inflammatory type cytokines and things like that. Where have we heard cytokines recently?
Involving with the Chinese flu.
The new virus, right? And it
Mhm.
and they go on to say, this is the Archives of Medical Research, February 2020, significant role in protection from cancer, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, and then it also influences stem cell proliferation.
Ooh, we all want that.
I'm telling you, Andrea, we need to be on this product.
Good stuff.
Every single day, we need to be doing a dose of this. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and she has a certain a medical issue and a little bit worried about it. You know, I won't. I mean, I won't say what disease because I just don't want people to say, "Oh, Kurt says this." Um,
Right.
I just want to say it's a medical condition that kills a lot of people. Number two killer in the Western world, and it's getting worse. More people are getting diagnosed with it, she said, well, what can I do naturally? The medical, um, you know, people, healthcare providers, really don't have an answer for her. Throw a little bit more of this at it, throw a little bit more of that at it, and she's not getting any better. And I said, well, here's what I would do. Here's what I'd do, because I can tell you what I would do.
Yeah.
I can't make any medical claims, but they've said that it's safe to take 5 grams a day,
Mm-hmm.
right? So 5 grams again is a table and a half teaspoon, table table
Blah, blah.
spoonful and a half. Yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean,
That's right.
right? Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. That's gonna become a popular phrase right in the pistol
More
shooting.
brain vitality for you.
He Biden needs to be taking some of this resveratrol, doesn't he?
Hmm. Yeah, that would help him.
Wait, we won't talk about politics on this call. Come on. But
Right.
seriously. So here's another website that I was looking at, and so this one I just like it because it talks about the Sisel product. So it takes and it says, so there's it's been studied since the 1940s. There's 3,600 studies on PubMed, 250 clinical research studies, and it Eternity uses 99.9% pure liquid trans resveratrol, right? And
It's all liquid.
trans resveratrol is the most effective. There's a trans form and a cis form, and the trans form is the most effective. So what we do with it is we nanosize it, the molecules, and we
Mm-hmm.
encase it in these encapsulations called micelles, MICELLES. And what that does is that helps to protect it against the gastric juices and oxygen and things like that. And then and so the thing about it is that when you do it this way, it can pass directly into the body, into the cells, without being damaged by all of those other things, like the liver and the stomach and all that. And so the body can use it. And if you take it and you swirl it in your mouth, you take a little sip, Andrea, and you
Mm-hmm.
swirl it in your mouth, let it absorb into the mucosa right away, the mucosa membrane. Um, it's really gonna work. And so they find that it's that much more effective than the cyst form, and we have for each dose we're getting the effects of drinking 350 glasses of red wine.
That's the detail I like right there.
Yeah, and so that's pretty cool, and it absorbs when you put it in your mouth. It increases the absorption by 250 times if you let it absorb in your mouth, right?
That's
And
how I take it.
so when people say to me, they say, "Well, yeah, but what protects it against oxidation when it's in the bottle?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, number one, folks, if you take a look at what we use for a bottle, we use a BPA free bottle. So
Mm-hmm.
you're not getting the bisphenol A, which is an endocrine disruptor, and then on top of it, what Tom figured out to protect it is that he takes and he fills the bottle with nitrogen, and then when he pushes the Eternity, which is a liquid nutraceutical, into the bottle, a liquid form of resveratrol, it forces the nitrogen out, and so the resveratrol never gets exposed to oxygen until you crack that cap of that bottle. And then you should consume it within a month. Keep it in your fridge. The
Yep.
bottle's covered with a dark covering so that it doesn't get exposed to light, because light will also break down resveratrol. And Andrea, there you go. We have one effective product.
We have several effective products, but this is a super effective product.
Super effective product. And I'll tell you, I had my dad taking it back about about 7 years ago is when my dad really started taking. You've heard my dad's story before. Dad was going to Mayo Clinic, and he had a really aggressive form of lymphoma, called Waldenstrom syndrome, and the doctors at Mayo, you know, one of the top lymphoma doctors in the world. He said he was
Mhm.
the top. He said he was the top researcher in this Waldenstrom syndrome, right? And I remember about 10 years ago, I was at Mayo Clinic with my dad and my mom, and I said, well, is there anything natural that we can use? He said, there's nothing, you know, chemo or medical that's going to help your dad. And I said, was there anything natural? Nope, nothing. And 3 years later, I'm sitting there with Tom Senior, um, bless the guy, and we're sitting up at his house at his mansion one night. It was about midnight, and I said, Tom, can you help me figure out something that I can help with my dad? And we talked about a little bit, and he goes to the computer and he starts typing a few things in, and up comes a study that directly related to Waldenstrom syndrome, Andrea. Not just lymphoma, but specifically listed Waldenstrom syndrome, and it said resveratrol,
Wow, it's good
and
stuff. So your dad is like 80 now, right?
he'll turn 83 here in a month and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, and so about 7 years ago, they told my dad they said he wasn't going to make it through the end of the year. So that was 7 years ago,
He's
and
doing good.
I remember after Tom and I found that study, and I went home and I put my dad on, um, you know, I think we had him on 6 doses a day, which is the equivalent of drinking 1,500 glasses of red wine.
Yeah. For the
You know,
resveratrol, yes. Hmm.
yep. And within 9 months, Mayo Clinic had
Lactic
changed their.
acid.
Oh, they totally changed their tune, and I can't say it had anything to do with the product. I mean, I'm not going to make that claim, right? I'm just going to say that that was the big change that we did, and within a year, they came back and they said, well, we don't know what's going on. This doesn't normally happen, but kidney function is coming back. Liver function was coming back because they were saying his liver was failing, his kidney was failing because of all the chemo that they were giving him,
Hmm.
and within a short period of time, I don't remember exactly how long, but within a short period of time, they told him that his kidney and liver function was better than it was before they even started treating him.
That's
Now,
amazing.
can we say that it was the eternity? No, can't make that claim, Andrea. Can't make that claim. But you know, there's probably good um oh what I want to say. I mean, to me there's just I would say that to me, if I had anything going on, I would use this product, you know? Because what if it does help? I mean, what if 20 years from now they come back and they say, "Hey Andrea, they found out that this is what resveratrol does."
Hmm.
Right? I mean, if
Well,
they can if they
obviously
can
there's some research right now. So,
Yeah. But if they could say that it protects that tree, that grape, that peanut plant from injury and stress,
hmm,
then there's pretty good reason to believe that it'll help protect you and me.
right.
So, and again, these are Andrea's and my views. This isn't the view of the
Our
company.
opinion. It's
Yeah,
our
we can't
opinion.
we can't say that Sisel says this. All we can say is that we say it, and we have studies to back us up on our beliefs. And we really have to be careful about that stuff nowadays, don't we?
Yeah,
We can't say, oh, so and so endorses it. We can't do this or that. All we can say is that, hey, I endorse it.
right.
So, you know, Anything you want to add, Andrea? I think we really hit this thing hard. I mean, if it helps you with if resveratrol is studied to do all these things
Mm-hmm.
and and support your system, that's what we can say. And it improves the outcome. If resveratrol, the studies show that it improves the outcome of a lot of different things. Resveratrol does that, not our
Mm-hmm.
product. And then we can show that we have a product that's much more effective than 50% of the other products on the market, because that's, again, I'm going off these studies. 50% of the products were found to be, they failed
Mm-hmm.
the the study. So we can say we're as good, if not better, than the other 50%. And we've got the right form of resveratrol in our product. Boy, I tell you what, Andrea, for the $50 a month that it costs to be on this product, or so, $50 American, because we have some foreigners, that
Mm-hmm.
that are listening, people from other countries. So it might be a little bit more, a little bit less in your country, but right around $50 American. Holy cow, Andrea, why wouldn't you be on it?
I am on it, Doc.
You're on it.
Yeah, and so, instead of an apple a day to keep the doctor away, have a little shot of resveratrol every day.
That's right. That's right, Andrea. So I'll let you close out the call. Everybody have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening to our conference. If you're on here live, if you're listening to the recording, pass it on. Let people know. That's what we're here for. Wouldn't it be
Right.
nice, Andrea? Wouldn't it be nice if everybody in the world was just healthy and we had a long health span and a short dying span?
That would be awesome, Doc.
All right,
It's
I'll
what
let
we're
you
working
finish up the
for.
call.
Thank you
I'll
for
let you
another
finish up the call.
super. Thank you for another super Tuesday, Doc. Dr. Kurt Fisnick is with us every Tuesday at noon on this Facebook channel, Doctor's Clinic, Doc Fizz with Friends. So join us. Go ahead and tag subscribe to his YouTube channel, which is Sisel World Team. You can find all the information in there that you want from the last 4 or 5 years, Doc.
Yeah,
You have a
I think
great
I've been on there now
followers.
about 7 years.
Awesome. So have a great day, folks.
Bye bye.
Bye.